Hi, I'm Allison, founder of Pink Nannies. I've worked with hundreds of families across the United States, and I want to talk about one really important thing that we're going to discuss today, and that's the importance of background checks. You've met someone who feels just right. Your kids liked her, you liked her, and for a second, you feel like everything feels so easy. You start picturing the calm mornings, the less chaotic evenings, maybe even time to finish up a cup of coffee while it's still hot. Then that little thought sneaks in. What if I miss something? That's the moment almost every parent reaches. The moment where intuition meets reality. We've all heard the phrase background check, right? It sounds official, like one big report that tells you everything that you need to know. But here's the truth. A background check is not a magical document. It's one small part of something much bigger and something called vetting. And vetting isn't about catching people. It's about confirming alignment. It's about making sure that who someone says that they are is who they've proven themselves to be. In the nanny world, that distinction, it really matters. When you hire a caregiver, you're not just hiring for a desk job. You're opening your home, your life, to another person. They'll see you tired, they'll see you unfiltered, they'll see your children at their best and at their worst. So yes, this does deserve more than good vibes and a great resume. Let's break down the way that we do things here at Pink Nannies. A true vetting process builds a 360-degree picture of a human being standing in front of you. Not just where they've worked, but how they've shown up, who they've been, what others say when they're not in the room. And while a standard criminal background check checks is essential, it's only the beginning. You wouldn't judge a house by one room. You walk it. You open the closet. You see how the light hits in the morning. Vetting is the same exact thing. Let's talk about what's actually included. Criminal history reports first. Local, state, and federal. They pull records, they check for convictions, and they confirm if there's anything that could risk to your family. But that's not where most surprises happen. It's the small details, the unforgotten addresses, the unexplained gaps, the inconsistencies that often tell the bigger picture in the bigger story. Then there's the driving records. If your nanny will ever be behind the wheel, this one is huge. You want to see more than just a clean slate. You'll want a pattern of responsibility because how someone treats the road often mirrors how they treat everything else, with care or without it. Identity verification, education checks, employment verifications, each of those steps builds another layer of truth in this position. It's confirming that the person in front of you isn't just telling their story accurately, but it's fully. The references, that's where the magic happens. When I call a reference, I don't just ask, was she reliable? I listen for the tone in their voice. I listen for the breath. That's the little hesitation before someone's answering. It's everything. Because truth doesn't hide in words, it hides in people who talk about someone when they don't realize that you're listening for it. That's why at Pink Nannies, we still make those calls ourselves. In-house, we don't outsource the human part. We never will. And yes, the internet matters too. In today's world, your online presence is the part of your resume, whether you like it or not. We don't judge people for living their lives. We just want to make sure that the digital footprints align with the values that they bring into someone's home. Let's talk about the process itself, because I know some of you are wondering, how do I even do all of this? Well, first you start by choosing a reputable provider. Not all background check services are created equal. Some pull from databases that aren't updated. First, you start by choosing a reputable provider. Not all background check services are created equal. Some pull from a database that aren't updated or not only cover certain counties. Look for a provider that specializes in domestic staffing or childcare. They'll know how to cross-reference records across states and reports with accuracy. Second, you get written consent always. This isn't just professional courtesy, it's actually the law in many places. Transparency goes both ways. You're setting the tone for honesty from day one. Third, interpret the results like a human being. Don't skim. Don't panic over the small things. A parking ticket from 2013? Fine. A pattern of reckless behavior? Now that's worth a conversation. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Fourth, follow up. If something doesn't make sense, ask. Maybe the last name changed after marriage. Maybe there's a minor discrepancy in dates. Or maybe there's more to the story. Either way, you won't know unless you ask. And that's where so many families, they get it wrong. They assume that if a report looks fine, that the work is done. But the truth is, that's just where the real understanding begins. Here's the reality of what we see. Out of every 100 applicants that we review, about 60% pass the initial screening. Half of those make it to the interview. And by the time we finish fully vetting, background checks, references, employment, internal review, only about 8% to 5% move forward. That's not because we're harsh. That's because our families deserve excellence. Last year, Pink Nannies processed over 8,000 applicants nationwide. From that group, we selected fewer than 200 nannies to represent our agency. Those are the people who not only pass every check, but demonstrated emotional intelligence, communication skills, and follow through. That's what Pink Nannies looks like in numbers. And parents, there's part for you too. When you take the time to go through all of this, you're not just being paranoid, you're being intentional. Because trust built on data doesn't replace intuition, it really protects it. Let's talk about red flags. I know this is where your stomach tightens a little bit, but stay with me here. A criminal record involving violence or theft, that's an obvious no. A pattern of reckless driving, that matters if they'll be transporting your children. Now, the unexplained job gaps or vague references, those are your invitations to dig deeper. But remember, context matters. A 6-month gap might be maternity leave. A quiet reference might be someone uncomfortable on the phone. Or maybe they're a high-profile family and they don't have other staff that want to have that conversation with you. You're not looking for flawless, you're looking for honest. Now let's talk about something that you can't pull from a database. Behavior patterns. Communication tells you everything. If a candidate sounds impatient during the hiring process, they'll be impatient on the job. If they email you with urgency but vanish for days when you apply, ding, 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 that's a clue. And I know it's small, but small patterns predict big outcomes. When I train our recruiters, I tell them, listen to how someone handles small responsibilities because that's how they'll handle big ones. And if you're a nanny listening, remember this. Families are not looking for perfection. They're looking for patterns that match their home. Your transparency is your credibility. It's not about having something to hide behind. It's about having nothing to explain away. Your transparency is your credibility. It's not about having nothing to hide. It is about having nothing to explain. At Pink Nannies, every single reference call is done in-house. We talk, we listen, because connection reveals character. We asked about credibility, we asked about reliability, communication, adaptability, and most importantly, heart. We listen for the really small things, the warmth in a parent's voice, the stories that they told us without prompting them to. And that's the good stuff. That's where the truth lies, and that's where it lives. The biggest misconception in this industry is that vetting kills connection. It deepens it. And when you've done the work, you can really relax. It's that you can go into that first day of an employment knowing that you didn't skip a single step. That confidence, that peace, it is allowing a real connection to grow. You build trust on clarity. And look, I know this process can feel so overwhelming at times. Between applications, schedules, and the sheer vulnerability of letting someone into your family's daily life, it's a lot. But this is where purpose meets process. Every call that you make, every check that you run, every conversation that you have, it's really an act of love. You're not just hiring a nanny, you're creating stability for your children. A thorough vetting process isn't just due diligence. It's parenting and it's protective. It's parenting in its most protective form. And when families who do it right know that peace of mind isn't luck, it's really earned. And families who do it right, they know that peace of mind isn't luck. It's earned. There's no background check in the world that can predict how someone will handle a tantrum or a tough morning. But it can tell you they've earned the right to show you and they've earned the right to be in your home. And that's the point. You're not looking for certainty. You're looking for confidence. Every time a family finishes this process with us, I see the same thing. It's like a deep exhale. Their shoulders drop, their tension leaves their face because they know that the person walking through the door isn't just qualified, they're really vetted and screened at the highest extent. That difference, it's everything. So if you're listening right now and you're in that in-between stage, you've met someone you feel good about, but your head's spinning with the what ifs, I'm not sure. Take a deep breath, do the work, ask the questions, and make the calls. Because one day soon, you'll be the parent saying, I can't believe how lucky we got. And it won't be luck, it'll be loved backed by diligence. I'm Allison, this is with Pink Nannies, and if you've enjoyed what we've talked about today, follow along, subscribe. We also have a podcast called the Pink Nannies on Air. Follow along as we go through this journey together. Have a lovely day, everyone.